Hi friends, my name is Amber and this is a Lovely Yarn podcast. Thank you all for joining me today. I feel a little flustered. I'm not gonna lie, it's been a little bit since I've podcasted. And for those of you who, actually I posted even here on YouTube, I got a puppy about 3.5 weeks ago, and she has kept me so busy. Plus my son just got married this past Saturday, March 29th. Today's April 2nd. So it's just been busy here in our home, and I have found that I'm not getting as much knitting done, and I don't even know how this recording is going to go. Tilly is my new dog, and she is like right here in her crate taking a nap. We just were outside. She was playing hard, so I'm hoping that she sleeps for a little while so I can film. But this is my first time filming with her. So I don't know. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm a little bit nervous, but it's okay. I feel like I need to rush through it, but I'm going to try really hard not to rush through it. I will talk a little bit more about Ian's wedding at the end of this video for those of you who are interested, and I might be able to share a few photos then as well. But for now, I want to get into the knitting because I do have quite a bit to share. Not that I've been knitting a lot, because I haven't. I'm always on like puppy duty or puppy watch, but I do have some new things, at least 2 new projects that I did not talk about at all before. And then I have some new yarn. I have a pattern that is just a beautiful pattern that I'm going to be casting on for like spring. I'm using a cotton blend yarn that I'm going to be making that with. So I want to talk about that. And then I have I have one finished object, and then my Songbird Mittens that I want to talk about. I don't know if I have anything else. I just kind of have everything. I was just piling it all up as I was trying to get ready to film this, because I knew as soon as she got tired, I needed to just like go at it. So first things first, I want to tell you what I'm wearing today. Someone actually recently asked me about this cardigan, and I can't remember if I answered or not, because it's just been, you know, wedding planning and puppy and stuff. But this is my Georgetown cardigan, and this is a pattern by Fettig. I actually have her book, which is Home and Away. This is one of my favorite knitting books. I think I shared about this in a segment, at least, about, I can't remember if I did it. I don't think I did a whole episode on my favorite knitting books, or if it was just like a little segment. But I actually really like this book. There's multiple patterns in here that I want to make. I've had it for a long time. I think what happens a lot of times is we buy our knitting books, but then we end up buying the new shiny pattern on Ravelry, and then we forget about our patterns in our knitting books. And so I actually want to kind of dig into this book a little bit more, because let me just show you. I'm not going to talk too much about this book, but this Sycamore vest I have wanted to make since the very get-go. I absolutely love that, and I really like how it was styled over this. Let me see if I can find a full. Oh, here. I love how they styled this. It's so cute. So that's definitely up on my knit list. And but this is the Georgetown cardigan, and in this pattern, it's been a long time since I've knit this, but if I remember correctly, she gives you 2 options, and one is to do it knit seamlessly, and the other one is to do set-in sleeves. I actually chose the set-in sleeves because this was one of the first cardigans I knit, but I knit it after knitting several cardigans that fell off of my shoulders, and I think I had read that it could have been because of the raglan increases, that it wasn't laying on my shoulders nicely. So when I decided to knit this one, I decided to knit it with the set-in shoulders. I feel like I do have a little bit of extra fabric on the shoulders, but it's not bad, and it actually stays up. It's a very cozy cardigan. I did make the shawl collar wider. You can see it's not supposed to be this wide if you knit it according to pattern, but I wanted a nice wide shawl collar because I didn't want it sticking up at all. I wanted to make sure it was big enough to lay down flat. And I knit this using Cloudborn. It was a craftsy yarn that they sold along. They don't sell yarn anymore, but it was Cloudborn Highland worsted, I think it was. It does peel quite a bit, if you can see. I have not de-peeled this for a while. I think you can probably see that. Like in the high friction rub areas, it does peel quite a bit. But I will say that it's fine. It's not really pilling any much. Well, I guess it is. Anywhere where there's friction, there's pilling. But this is mostly a lounge around the house cardigan. Let me get up a little bit and just show you. Yeah. See, I feel like if I wouldn't have made this shawl collar so wide, I maybe wouldn't like how it lays on me, but you might hear a little background noise from the dog readjusting herself in her crate. So that's what this is. They don't even sell this yarn anymore, so I'm not going to give you all the details on that because I don't have any of that information, and I don't even remember, other than it was Cloudborn Highland worsted, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so I have one finished thing to show you guys, and this is the Pressed Flowers neck kerchief by Amy Christoffers, and mine is all done. And I talked about this in my last episode. I did make this wider than the pattern calls for. I think I did 2 extra flowers on each end, and the pattern is written in such a way that you can easily adjust the length of your kerchief. The reason I did that is because I had read on some of the project pages that it was, and then Becky from A Hand Knit Letter, she had mentioned that knitting it according to the pattern made it really hard to tie it on. Now, I guess what I was thinking is if I would have knit it to pattern, I could have just done like a little buttonhole and a button and just buttoned it. So that's how it would close. But I ended up knitting it so that I could tie it. So let me give you a close-up. This is mosaic knitting. And if you've knitted any of the pressed flowers patterns, you will be familiar with this. So that's the right side, and then the wrong side, you see more of the green. But it's meant to be worn. It's not like a reversible thing. It's meant to be worn with the right side out. So let me tie this on. Let me see if I can do this without getting my hair knotted in, which is proving quite challenging. I knit this using Purl Soho good wool. The blue is called Desert Blue, and the green is called Olive Oil. And these are the 2 skeins I used. I mean, I have a lot of yarn. I definitely used more of the blue. I think I may have weighed it. Let me look in my knitting journal and see, because I think I may have weighed it at the end. Yeah, so I used 28 grams. These are 100 gram skeins. I used 28 grams of the blue, which was the main color, and then I used 16 grams of the olive oil. And the pattern says to do 6 increases on one side and then decreases on the next, but I did 8 increase sections. Yes, and I knitted this on a US 6 needle. I did block it fairly aggressively at the end just because I wanted to make sure I had enough extra fabric to tie at the back of my neck, and this is perfect. It is, yeah, let me see. I feel like I could even do a small double knot. I definitely could for sure. I'm not going to try to show you guys that, but I'm going to take this off for now because I'm just right as far as my body temperature goes with what I have on. I don't want to overheat myself. That is my only finished object, but I have some other things to show you all. And the first one I'm going to show you is a pair of socks that is part of the Summerlee Colorwork Cuff Club that I belong to. I'm really glad that I joined this club. Basically what it is you pay, I think it's somewhere around $13 or $14, and you get a pattern, you get a basic sock pattern, and then at the beginning. And then every month we've been getting at least one color work chart for the cuff of the sock. Some months there have been two. I haven't looked at April's. I just got the email that April's chart has been released, and it is April 2nd, so that would make sense. I haven't looked at that yet, so I don't know what that chart looks like. But I actually went back and I chose to do the January sock, and I'm using the Farmer's Daughter fibers. I'm in her what's it called? It's the club where she sends, you get a skein, a sock set. Like, so you get a full skein and then you get a 20-gram mini. And I'm using the most recent, so it would have been March's yarn. And this is January's, so this is January's cuff from the Colorwork Cuff Club, and then January's yarn from Farmer's Daughter Fibers. Now the toe and this tomato red contrast color, that is actually from a mini set I got from Flower Hill Fleeces, but this tealy turquoisey color was the mini, and then this variegated was the main color. I don't know what this was called. I don't think they're, oh, Inky Snake. I don't know if that's the mini or if that's, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I got the first one completed, and again, I'm still trying to figure out my tension. I'm still trying to figure out the best way to knit. I've had multiple like suggestions on how to knit the sock, the cuff part of the color work, so that it goes over, slips up over your heel easier. And I mean, I can get these up over my heel, but it's definitely tight. And every time I put it on, I'm so afraid I'm going to bust one of these little floats. I have knit the smallest size. So like, I think it's 57 stitch cast on every time I've knit socks in this club. But anyway, it's cute. That's cute. I have just this much with the second sock. I'm getting ready to start the color work, but I haven't had the opportunity to do so yet because I haven't had an opportunity to focus for it. I mean, this is really simple color work, but I still like puppies and chart reading. Even if it's simple chart reading, it's just not there yet. Not there yet. We will get there. Okay, so yeah, I think that's all that I need to say about that. And then we will move on to my Songbird Mittens, which, yeah, they're actually moving along better than I thought, but this is a project that requires my extreme concentration. I would not recommend this for a color work beginner. It is, you have to pay attention to the chart. I'm going to love these when they're done, but I have to basically sit at the kitchen table with my chart out in front of me, and I have to really pay attention. So I have not worked on this. I think maybe a couple of times I've sat down since we got Tilly and maybe did a couple rows each time. So these are slow moving, but that's okay. These are a really good knit if you are just kind of wanting to focus on your knitting. So let me show you what I have, and then I'll talk about the yarn. This is what I have so far. So you can see this is the branch, the leaves, and here is the lower part of the birdie's body. And then this is the back side. My thumb stitches are on hold. Yeah, I'm using a woolly thistle yarn, and it's a fingering weight yarn. It's the Rambler. It's an exclusive woolly thistle. I am a woolly thistle affiliate, so I will put the link down below to this yarn into their shop. Full disclosure, if you purchase through that link, I get a small portion of that, but no extra cost to you. So this is the Rambler, and the purple color is called Lupin. And this color is just natural, so it's just undyed. This yarn is really nice because it is more of a toothy. It's not, I mean, it's a little scratchy. If you were sensitive, you would, I mean, this doesn't bother me. I guess it would depend on your sensitivity. Put like this. Yeah, this doesn't bother me, but it's definitely not like an indie dyed fingering weight that has merino and nylon in it. It has no nylon. In fact, what is it? It's Dorset. So it has 80% Dorset, 10% Corriedale, and 10% Gray Romney. Yeah, and there's 420 yards per 100 grams. So I'm not going to wax on about this because I have talked about these before, but they are beautiful. They're going to be beautiful. I dropped a stitch here. So when that happens and I don't notice it until a lot later, I will just stick the dropped stitch. Can you see what I did there? I stuck it on one of these light bulb markers and I kind of attached it. And I will go back at the end with some of this purple yarn, and I will basically I'm duplicate stitching it down, because that's the easiest way to deal with that. It'll be fine. I mean, I'm glad I caught that. I'm glad I saw it, because if I would not have seen it, it could start to pull out like down the line of that stitch. But when I catch it like that, I just go back and kind of I'm basically just kind of darning it down. It's not a big deal. It'll be fine. You won't be able to notice. I am a little bit concerned about my tension I have quite a bit of puckering right now. I usually do I feel like I usually do a pretty good job in tensioning my color work so that it doesn't pucker too much, but some of these, and this is probably another reason I wouldn't recommend this for a beginner colorwork knitter. Some of the floats are really long, like 9, 10, I think even 11 to 12 stitches. So you have to catch your floats. But even catching my floats, I noticed quite a bit of puckering in the bird's body, which is where most of the long flat floats are. I'm hoping that blocks out. If not, it's okay. I mean, I don't expect perfection out of my knitting. I just do my best. And as long as I'm enjoying it, then that's good. So yeah, one mitten. Still have this one to finish and a whole nother mitten to work on. I don't know. It's not a race with those. I'll get them done when I get them done. Oh, but I did want to show you guys what I ended up getting, because I've been thinking about buying one of these for a long time, and then someone suggested it as well. Well, maybe even multiple people. But I found this magnetic board on Amazon. It's not the best. Let me show you. It's made for reading charts and stuff for crafters. I wanted, I would have preferred something a little bit more. So my friend Jody, who owns Flower Hill Fleeces, she has this magnetic board that kind of folds shut, and then the one side of it bends so you can prop it up, so you can actually prop your chart up and look at it. I don't know where she got that. I should ask, because maybe in the future I will purchase something like that. But this is just a metal board. I have to take the chart off because that's paid for pattern, but it's just a magnetic board. It's metal. And then you get these strips so that you can mark your chart. And so that's what I've been doing. I've been marking my chart using this so that it stays in place, so that I do not lose track. And another thing that I'm not crazy about with this pattern is the designer. So you know how when you have a knitting chart, you have a lot of times the designer will put the row number on both sides of the chart so that you, as you're working across, you can make sure you're still on the same row. This designer did not do that, and with just the amount of, not necessarily stitches because it's a mitten, but just how the stitches are not really, there's no real rhythm to them. It would have been really nice to have the rows on either side, and I can go and mark it. I could do that. I didn't. I could, but that was just one thing that I took note of when I was, you know, after you knit colorwork for a while, you learn things that certain designers do that you like or appreciate, and then that just would have been nice for this pattern, but it's not a big deal. Next, I want to talk about a new cast-on that I started and have been working on. It's probably the pattern or the project that I've been devoting most of my time to because it's been very enjoyable, and it's also been very easy. I haven't had to give a lot of thought to it while knitting it, other than just making sure that it was fitting me as I knit it. And it is the Step-by-Step Cardigan, which is a pattern by Florence Mueller, who goes by Handmade by Florence on like Instagram and stuff. But I will pop a picture up here. So what really made me cast this on was that the fact that, first of all, I do want some more cardigans because they make more sense for me right now. They're easy off and on. But also my next episode, I'm planning on doing an episode that's devoted entirely to garment patterns that would be good for beginners. So although I'm not going to be able to personally test all of the patterns. I'm shooting for like 10 patterns of various weights of yarn, but you know, probably most of them are going to be sport weight or more, because fingering weight sweaters can be a real slog to get through. But I did want to try to knit some of them so that I can, or at least part of the pattern, so I can at least look at the pattern and get like a truer sense of whether I think that it's good for beginners. Because I have heard people say that like the no frills pullover by Petite Knit is a good beginner pattern, but I don't agree with that. When I knit it actually I've only ever knit it one time. And when I knit it, I was not a beginner, and there was some, I didn't feel that it was totally clear. And I think it was the short row section of it. And short rows I don't think you should let short rows deter you from knitting, because they really do help to shape your garment and to make it fit better. And they're not hard. They're a good skill to learn to have in your knitting repertoire. But I just remember thinking, this is a little bit confusing. And I don't know if some of the instruction gets kind of lost in translation, because that English pattern has been translated from the original language. So I would not suggest the no frills pullover. But I've heard a lot of people suggest that. So I guess a lot of it is very subjective, because it is your opinion, and maybe you have certain knitting preferences that make certain things about patterns a little bit just come more easily to you. So it's going to be a best shot, right? And it's going to be an episode that's based on my opinion, but I'm also looking at other people's opinions of the patterns as well. But having said all that, I did want to start this particular cardigan, and here's my very puny swatch. I basically just wanted to swatch, not the row gauge, because this is such a simple pattern that I was just planning on trying it on as I knit it, rather than really worrying about like the row gauge. I just wanted to get the stitch gauge. And my stitch gauge was, I think the patterns was 16 per 4 inches, and I got 15 and a half per 4 inches. So I originally thought, according to the sizing, that I should cast on the third size. Let me make sure that's correct. Yes, because it said the third size is approximately for a 37-inch bust, which my full bust is 37 inches. But I decided that because my gauge was just a tad bit bigger, I was going to cast on the second size. And I am so glad I did, because I feel like I could even maybe, I don't know if I loosened up while I was knitting, which that's entirely possible. I feel like I could have even done the first size and been okay. So let me tell you about my yarn, because this pattern calls for an Aran weight yarn. And so I have this Drops Air in this beautiful color. I love this color so much. This is a good color, I think, for me. And I was originally just going to knit it in that color. Let me see if I can find it's color 29. But I decided, because this yarn is a blown yarn, so it's really squishy, and I've knit multiple sweaters out of it, and it's kind of like very light and airy. So I wanted to give it a little bit more structure and weight. And so I decided to hold it double with this Pearl Soho linen quill. And this color is Peach Stone. So it's just a little bit lighter, and it's also a bit warmer in tone than the Drops Air one. And it's giving me this. So it's like you can't even notice that it's marl, but it's marled. And I want to recommend the Drops Air. I've knit with it so many times, because I love that yarn, and I feel like it holds up. It doesn't, I mean, it does pill a little bit, but I don't feel like it's not like this sweater. Okay, so let me show you what I have. Got to get it untangled from the yarn. Okay, so this is what I have so far. And I just started the ribbing a couple of days ago. I haven't knitted it. I didn't knit it all yesterday or today have I knit. But I just started the ribbing. And so I'm going to do probably 2 to 3 inches of ribbing, and then I will bind off on the bottom hem, and then I'll go back and I'll probably do the button band and get all like the neck and everything shaped, and then I'll do my sleeves last, so that I can make sure, because that's the order of operation I typically follow when I'm knitting a garment. I will knit the body, and then I will go back and I will knit the neck, because when you knit the neckband or the button band, it kind of cinches up the fabric a bit. So it pulls it, not a lot, but it does pull it a little bit. And so it does affect the length slightly. So I find that finishing off the neck or the hem, like the button band, helps to give me a better gauge as to the length. And normally I cannot do the button band until I have the ribbing done. So I can't finish the length. I have to finish the length of the body before I can do the button band. But I figured I'll at least be able to gauge the sleeves a little bit better if I finish off the button band before doing that. So this pattern actually is wonderful. There was one line of instruction missing, and I knew what to do, but I thought I'm knitting this to see if I can include this in an episode that's for beginner knitters. So I actually messaged Florence on Instagram and said, hey, I think this is missing, this line of instruction. And she got back to me and said, oh, you're right, I will fix that. So hopefully it is changed, and the pattern hopefully has been updated with that correction, because like I said, I knew what to do, but if I was a complete beginner, I would be like, huh? And it would have been a noticeable thing. It was a line of purling that was completely left out. So I have really enjoyed this. I love this color. It's like going to be such a cozy sweater. I will try to remember to do like a little video over here of me putting this on, what I have so far, so that I can show you the size of it. This is a V, it's going to be V-neck. I know it's hard for you to see that because it's kind of rolled up right now, but it's a V-neck sweater, and it will button. So it's going to have functional buttons. So I probably will wear this buttoned. That is how I'm going to wear this. I'll wear it buttoned. But I'm really loving the fabric that I'm getting from this with this yarn and holding it double. It is knit flat, so you're doing a lot of purling. But since I taught myself how to purl continental, so I learned how to knit as an English style knitter, which means that I would manipulate the yarn with my right hand. But when you purl that way, you have to actually drop the needle and wrap, and it's just makes it slower. So I taught myself how to knit continental just because I wanted to be able to knit a little bit faster, but also I wanted to be able to knit with both hands when I was doing color work. It was very easy for me to figure out how to get for my muscles to get used to knitting continental. But when it came to purling, I'm going to be honest, I wanted to give up. And then I was like, no, I'm going to keep persevering and practicing. And so it's like, I just want to encourage you that if you're struggling with a technique in knitting, it's just like playing the piano or the guitar. And those are things that come into my head because my kids play instruments. But like, the more you do it, or even sports, like the more you train your muscles to do a certain movement, they will eventually do it. So now I can purl continental with no problem, and it is so much faster. And actually my tension, I feel like, people usually say that their purling tension is a lot looser, and mine maybe is a bit looser, but it's pretty consistent with my knitting tension now. So that's wonderful. And that has really been a game changer with knitting flat, because I don't mind knitting flat now because I can purl with my left hand. What else do I want to say about this? Let me see. Oh, one other thing. So I knit the second size, but as I finished up this V-neck, as I was finishing up like it was the section right before you put the sleeves or these stitches on hold to divide for the sleeves. I was supposed to do 4 more increases, I think, here. And I tried it on and I thought, oh boy, no, I need to stop. So I didn't do as many increases. That's what I'm saying. Like, you'll see in the video that I probably could have went down to a size 1. And, but this will be good. It'll just be really cozy and comfy. Also, I would highly recommend this barber cord. This has also been a life changer for me because you just slip it on your needle end and slide the stitches over. It's so much easier than using scrap yarn. And I got that off of Amazon. I got this big spool of it. It was really cheap to do it that way than to buy it through like someone who has already cut it and just packaged it in cute little packing. If you just buy a spool of it, you can cut it to fit your project, and there's a ton of it. So if that link is still like, if that is still an available product, I will link it down below so you guys can see, or I'll link something that's similar to it. Yeah, okay, that's it on that. The last knitting related thing I want to talk about is a cast-on I'm going to be starting as soon as I finish up my Step-by-Step cardigan. And this is going to be for the transitional spring weather that we have. Today it's actually rather chilly. It's very blustery here today. I was very cold. When I took Tilly out this morning, I was completely dressed in all the winter garb. But hopefully we'll be getting some transitional weather soon. And this is a beautiful sweater that I found on Ravelry, just doing a color work search because I knew I wanted to do a spring color work garment, and it is called the Tulipa Sweater, and it's by Eleanor Mortensen. This is a picture of it, and I'll just put a picture up here for it because my printer's horrible. It doesn't print very nicely, but this is the yarn I got for it. I am actually trying out for the very first time BC Garn BioBalance yarn. I've never used this, but this is organic yarn. It's 55% organic wool, 45% organic cotton. And my main color that I got is color 25. It's this really pretty, again, I'm trying to knit more in my soft summer color palette now that I know. And then the contrast color that I got to hold with it is this darker color. It's Harbor. Okay, this is color number 27. Again, I'll just, it'll be linked down below. And I purchased this from Wool & Company. So this will be the color of the tulips, and then this will be the main body. And this sweater design, so in the pattern, she gives you the option of doing short sleeve or long sleeves. I'm going to be honest, I'll probably do long sleeve because this is 55% wool. I won't be wearing this in like the really warm months. So this is, like I said, this is going to be more of a transitional thing. If anything, I might shorten the sleeves to 3/4, but I'm planning, I bought enough yarn to do full sleeves. And I just really think that the color work, I just love color work yokes. I really do enjoy knitting them. I think this would be really pretty if in a hand spun yarn as well, which I have a lot of hand spun, but most of it is, I would say, sport weight or heavier. So this pattern is written for fingering weight, which is what this Bio Balance yarn is. It's considered a fingering weight yarn. So I don't think that would be a wise choice for me to do, because I feel like the color work portion of it would would be like the contrast color it would be too thick. So I decided to scrap that idea, and I'm just going to use the same yarn for both portions of the sweater. I don't have anything else to say about this. I can't attest to the pattern yet because I haven't started it. Like I said, I really want to finish up the Step-by-Step cardigan, and I don't have that much left. Once I get on those sleeves, because the gauge for that sweater is so big, it is going really fast. I think I just started that like 2.5 weeks ago, or maybe right before we got the dog, so maybe like 3 weeks ago. So it is moving along quickly, and then once that's finished, I'm going to cast on for that Tulipa sweater. Okay, so I gotta show you guys this dog. Let me see here. I'm gonna just take the camera out. Oh, sorry. Let me show you. She likes to nap on her back. She's so cute. Okay. I think that's all now for the knitting portion and the crafting portion. I probably forgot something. I'm just kind of going by the seat of my pants today because, again, puppy life. And I don't know how you young mamas with little babies film podcasts. I've thought about that before because I remember my infant and baby and toddler years. I guess you guys are doing during nap time, which is basically what I'm having to do with Tilly. So yeah, knitting is done. Now I'm going to just talk briefly about personal stuff. So, not all of you are going to be interested in that, but thank you for watching. And if you aren't here for the personal stuff, thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Anyway, so as I had said, Ian got married on March 29th, which was this past Saturday. It was a beautiful wedding. We had a nice day. It didn't rain. It was pretty windy and a little bit chilly. I think it was like 69, but the wind was, made it, well, the wind made the outdoor photos a challenge because all of the women's hair were, it was blowing everywhere. I did really good during the ceremony. I cried a bit, but yeah, the rehearsal was rough, and I basically sobbed the entire way through my dance with Ian. So yeah, I just I couldn't hold it together. I couldn't. And I cried at other people's weddings. Like I can cry at a wedding of somebody I don't even know, especially during certain parts of it. And most definitely whenever the parents, like the father and the bride are dancing, but even more so when the mother and the groom are dancing. And I think it's just because I'm a mom. So I basically sobbed the whole way through there. Everything was very nice. We had fun. The wedding was an 11 o'clock wedding. So the DJ left at 5 p.m., which was actually kind of nice because we weren't up at like 11 o'clock, midnight, cleaning up the venues. We stayed at the church. So my son got married at the church that we used to attend, which is also where Brad and I got married and where my mom and dad got married. So that was kind of cool. And then the reception was at our current church because it was bigger. The other church was way too small to have a reception in. And I would say we were probably home by 7. And then very close friends of ours came back here to kind of help because, of course, you dump everything into your house and then you got to deal with that. And then they stayed and we ate leftovers from the rehearsal dinner the night before. And they left around 9. And then Lily's boyfriend, Noah, left shortly after that. And then it hit me. And I was up until 1:30 in the morning bawling. I even went to Ian's bed and I was like in his covers, like hugging them. Now, I am a very sensitive person. I am, and I'm very sentimental. So I don't know if it's that, but I think it's also the fact that this is my first time with Ian actually leaving the home, other than for like short trips and stuff. Because he commuted to college, he didn't leave for college and stay somewhere. This was like we were just jumping into the whole thing, and he basically moved out for good. You know what I mean? And then as I was laying in bed, I realized that I had been, I don't want to use the word replaced because you never replace your mother, but like his priority now is his wife, and that is how it should be. But it was just like, oh my gosh, I'm no longer the most important woman in his life. His wife is, and it just like, I felt like my heart was being ripped out. It was so weird just to be so happy for him, but then also feeling sad for myself because just that change, it's such a big change. And even 2 nights ago, we sat down for our dinner, and we always made it a priority to have dinner together as a family when the kids were younger and stuff. But, now all my kids are adults. Sergey doesn't live here anymore. He's married. He has his own home. Now Ian's married and has his own home. So Lily's, she's 19 and she's busy a lot with stuff. So we don't eat dinner together a lot anymore. But Monday night, it was Monday night, Lily, Brad, and I sat down. And Ian usually would sit across from me at the chair across from me. And I was just staring at an empty chair. And it was like, oh. So, but every day is getting easier. Walking past his empty bedroom is getting easier. He still has some of his stuff in there. But I feel like if you have been through this before and you've married off a son, you probably... I have not married off a daughter yet, but I almost feel like it's going to be different. I could be totally wrong. But it's like, it's just such a weird feeling. Again, I bought the puppy to distract myself from all of this, and it actually worked quite well because she's keeping me so busy that I don't have a lot of time to think about it all. I'm really happy for Ian and Jordan though. And again, it was a beautiful wedding and it was a beautiful day. And we're just, life goes on. Life goes on and it feels like it goes on quickly. And I am moving into a new season and I want to look at it in a positive way. But so many of you also said, just go with your emotions. Don't try to deny them or not feel them. Just go with them. And I reminded myself of that multiple times because I kept thinking, Amber, you're being so ridiculous. Like you're crying so much. And then I was reminding myself, no, so many people have said, just accept them and go with them. And so I did. And that was actually really helpful. Yeah. I think that's everything then. That's been the biggest thing that's happened in my life. I got a puppy and my son got married. And so they're on a honeymoon now. I had my sister take a picture of the cookie table, but she took like a picture far away. And then by the time Brad and I got there, we were the last people to get there because we had to stay and lock up the church that they got married in. So by the time we got there, like the cookie table had already been attacked. And so I didn't get any close-ups because some of you had asked about that to share a photo. So I'll just flash the photo that my sister took. But like I said, it is from far away. So I don't know that that's really what you wanted to see. Yeah. Anyway, that's it. So I'm going to wrap this up here. I can't believe I actually got through a podcast episode with Tilly. That's wonderful. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your support. Thank you for those of you who support this channel financially through Ko-fi, whatever. However, I never know how to pronounce that. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate that. And also just, watching, commenting, liking, sharing, it all is much appreciated. And have fun with your knitting or crocheting or spinning or whatever making you're doing. And hopefully I will be back with a new episode, that special episode I'm going to try to get it out within the next week and a half. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.